The night was silent. Only the wind moved through the broken ruins of the old city. Cracked stones lay across the ground, and tall pillars leaned like tired soldiers ready to fall. The human, Daniel, walked carefully, his boots crunching on the sand. His flashlight flickered, casting small circles of light that danced across the ruined walls. He felt he was not alone. The air was too heavy. The shadows seemed alive. Every time he stopped, he thought he heard something. A deep sound, like a breath or a heartbeat, coming from somewhere close. His skin prickled, and his throat went dry. Daniel whispered to himself, "Stay calm. It's only stone and dust. Nothing alive here." But then thud, the sound was heavy, like a tree falling in the forest. It echoed across the ruins. His flashlight shook in his hand as he turned in circles. Another thud followed. Then another. Each one closer. Daniel's heart raced. He tried to move quietly, slipping between broken walls, but the sound kept following. The ruins trembled, dust falling from above as if the stones themselves feared what was coming. And then he saw it at the end of the long corridor, lit faintly by the pale moon. A giant shadow moved. At first he thought it was a wall shifting, but then it stepped forward. 10 feet tall, broad shoulders wrapped in broken armor, and a single glowing eye burning in the middle of her forehead. A Cyclops. A warrior. Daniel froze. His breath caught in his chest. The stories said her kind were killers, merciless hunters who saw humans as insects. Yet she did not strike. She only stood there, her chest rising and falling like a great beast, her one eye locked on him. Her voice broke the silence, deep but strangely soft. "You, human." Daniel wanted to run. His knees shook, but his body would not obey. She walked closer, each step like thunder rolling through the ruins. He could feel the ground shake. When she stopped before him, her shadow covered him completely. Slowly, she bent down, her face close to his. He smelled iron, ash, and something wild in her breath. Her single eye glowed brighter, searching his face. Daniel's heart hammered. "Why? Are you here?" she asked, her voice heavy, like the echo of stone. I'm just exploring," Daniel stammered, forcing the words out. "I didn't know this place was guarded." Her lips curled into something between a frown and a smile. Her massive hand, big enough to crush his head, lifted slowly. Daniel flinched, expecting death. But instead, her hand pressed gently on his shoulder. The weight forced him down to one neat kneel, she said, not as a command of anger, but as if it was a law of the universe. Daniel gasped. "Why?" She leaned closer. He felt her warm breath against his ear, the ruins closing in around them. Her whisper came like a secret between predator and prey. "Because from this moment, you are mine." Daniel's eyes widened. He could hardly breathe. Her voice was not threatening. It was protective, heavy with something deeper. She pulled back slightly, her eye glowing softer now. "I swore it. You will not fall. While I live, no hand will touch you." Confusion burned in his mind. Why would a Cyclops warrior, known for killing, swear to protect him? He wanted to ask, but the ruins suddenly shook again. This time it wasn't her steps. Far away, a howl rose into the night, deep, alien, and violent. It carried across the ruins, answered by others. The sound of hunting, the sound of enemies. The Cyclops warrior's head snapped up. Her hand tightened on his shoulder. "They come. For you." Daniel felt his stomach twist. "For me. Why?" Her single eye locked onto his again. "Because you are human, and now, you are under my oath." The ground shook harder. The howls grew closer. Daniel's fear rose like fire in his chest. He looked at her giant frame, her cracked armor, the glowing eye that never left him. She could crush him in one hand, yet she was promising to fight for him. Her whisper still echoed in his ears. "You are mine." Daniel didn't know if it was protection or a prison, but he had no choice. The enemies were coming, and his only shield was the giant Cyclops warrior who towered above him. As she rose to her full height, blocking the pale moon with her massive body, Daniel asked himself the one question that burned like fire. Was he her protected human, or her captive? The ruins shook again. The hunters were almost here. And the night was only beginning. The night exploded with sound. The howls grew louder, echoing from every broken wall of the ruins. Daniel's chest tightened as he looked around. Dark shapes moved in the distance fast, sharp, hunting. The Cyclops warrior did not flinch. She stood like a wall of iron, her cracked armor glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her single eye narrowed. "They come," she said. Her voice was calm, but her grip on the massive blade at her back told another story. Daniel's throat went dry. "Who are they?" "Hunters," she answered. "They smell weakness. They smell you." Daniel's blood turned cold. "Me? Why me?" The Cyclops leaned down, her glowing eye so close he could see fire dancing inside it. "Because you are mine now. I swore an oath, and they wanted to break it." Before Daniel could speak, the hunters appeared. Four alien creatures crawled over the broken stones, bodies twisted like shadows. Their eyes burned red, their mouths full of sharp teeth. They hissed as they circled, moving faster than Daniel could follow. One leaped. The Cyclops warrior's hand shot out. With one swing of her massive blade, she cut the beast in two. Its body slammed into the stone floor, twitching before going still. Blood sprayed across the ruins. The others screeched. Daniel covered his ears from the sound, his heart pounding like a drum. She turned to him, her voice sharp. "Stay behind me." Daniel stumbled back, pressing against a cracked wall. He wanted to run, but something in her voice froze him. It wasn't just command, it was a chain binding him in place. The hunters struck again, 3 at once. Her blade cut through one, her massive fist crushed another, but the third broke through. It slammed into Daniel, claws tearing at his jacket. He screamed, struggling as sharp teeth snapped inches from his throat. Before death could reach him, the Cyclops grabbed the creature by the spine and ripped it away. With a roar that shook the ruins, she smashed its skull against the stones until nothing moved. Daniel fell to the ground, gasping, his body shaking. She knelt beside him, her one glowing eye staring deep into his. "You live," she said. "Because of me." Daniel's voice cracked. "Why are you doing this? Why me? You could have left me to die." Her chest rose and fell heavily. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her voice lowered like stone breaking softly. "In my world, when a warrior speaks an oath, it is stronger than blood. I spoke it to you." Daniel blinked. "But I never asked you to." Her hand, heavy and warm, pressed against his shoulder again. He felt the weight like iron chains. "It does not matter what you asked. It matters what I swore. You cannot break it. Not even I can break it." Her eye glowed softer, almost sad. "You are bound to me, human. My life is your shield, until my blood runs out." Daniel's stomach twisted. Bound to her? He looked at the dead hunters around them, their blood soaking the stones. If she hadn't been there, he would already be torn apart. But still, this was no freedom. He whispered, almost to himself, "So, I'm your prisoner?" Her voice was quiet, almost like the whisper from before. "Not prisoner. Protected. My vow makes it so." Before Daniel could reply, the ground shook again. More howls rose in the distance. Dozens this time. The Cyclops warrior stood tall, her massive frame glowing under the broken moonlight. She lifted her blade, blood dripping from its edge. She looked down at Daniel one last time. "Stay close. Run, and you die. Follow me, and you live." Daniel swallowed hard. The chains of her loyalty were invisible, but he felt them heavy around his heart. As the howls closed in from every side, Daniel had to make his choice: trust the monster who swore to protect him, or fight a world that wanted him dead. The ruins filled with the sound of claws on stone. The night had just begun. The ruins were quiet again, but only for a short breath. Daniel's ears still rang with the howls that had filled the night. He pressed his back against the stone, trying to calm his heart. Around him lay the broken bodies of the hunters, cut down by the Cyclops warrior's blade. She stood tall, her chest rising and falling, her glowing eye scanning the darkness. Her armor was cracked, her hands stained with blood, but her stance was unshaken. "They will not stop," she said finally. Her voice was low, almost like thunder rumbling under the earth. Daniel looked at her in disbelief. "More of them? After what you just did?" Her eye narrowed. "Yes, they will not forgive what I have done. To protect you. I have broken their law." Daniel's stomach twisted. "So they're not hunting me anymore. They're hunting you." She turned her head slowly, her gaze heavy on him. "They hunt us both. My vow binds me. Your fate is tied to mine." The words sank into Daniel like chains. He wanted to argue, to say he never asked for this. But before he could, a sound broke the silence. Clang. Metal striking stone. From the shadows, figures appeared. Not the wild hunters from before. These moved with discipline. Armored, armed, their glowing blades cutting the dark like fire. Alien soldiers. Daniel's breath caught. They're not like the others. The Cyclops warrior's jaw tightened. "My clan." She stepped forward, raising her blade. Her voice dropped into a growl. "They come to end my oath." Daniel's fear grew. This was no random hunt. These were her own people, her own blood coming to kill her for protecting him. The soldiers surrounded them, weapons raised. One stepped forward, a scar across his face, his single eye glowing brighter than the rest. His voice cut like steel. "Sister, you shame us." A warrior kneels for no human. The Cyclops warrior's grip on her weapon tightened. Daniel could feel the air grow heavy, like a storm ready to break. "I swore it," she said. "I will not break it." The scarred one sneered. "Then you fall with him." In an instant, the soldiers charged. The ruins exploded with light and sound. Sparks flew as blades clashed. The Cyclops warrior fought like a storm, her weapon cutting through armor, her roars shaking the walls. Daniel crouched low, covering his head as stone cracked and dust rained down. But no matter how strong she was, there were too many. For every soldier she struck down, two more pressed forward. Daniel's mind raced. He was useless in this fight. He had no weapon, no strength, nothing. Yet her vow tied him to her fate. If she fell, he fell too. He crawled behind a broken pillar, trying to think. His hands shook. His breath came in gasps. And then, he heard something strange, a whisper, not hers, not human. It came from the shadows beyond the battle. A voice that knew his name. "Daniel." He froze. His blood turned cold. No one here should know his name. The voice came again, softer, closer. "Daniel, come to me. She cannot save you forever." Daniel's eyes widened. He turned his head, trying to see through the dust and fire. A figure stood at the edge of the ruins, half hidden in shadow. Not a soldier, not a hunter. Something else, something waiting, and it knew him. The Cyclops warrior roared as she cut down another foe, blood spraying across the stones. But Daniel's mind was no longer only on the battle. Someone, or something, was calling him, and deep inside, he feared the truth. Maybe he wasn't the hunted. Maybe he was the prize. The battle was over, but the ruins looked like a graveyard. Broken stones were painted with blood. The bodies of alien soldiers lay scattered, their glowing blades dim now. Smoke rose from cracks in the ground where fire had burned. Daniel sat against a pillar, his chest heaving, his hands shaking. He had not fought, but the fear had drained every drop of strength from his body. His clothes were torn, dust covered his face, and his ears still rang from the clash of steel. The Cyclops warrior stood tall in the center, her blade heavy at her side. Her cracked armor dripped with blood, some hers, most not. Her single glowing eye turned to Daniel. She was hurt. He could see a deep cut across her arm, and her breath came hard, but her stance was still strong. She walked toward him slowly, her massive shadow falling over him. For a moment Daniel thought she might finally crush him, but instead, she knelt down. Her face came close, her voice low. "You live." "Again," she whispered. Daniel swallowed. His voice trembled. "Because of you." Her eyes softened. For the first time, he saw not a warrior, but a woman, tired, bleeding, carrying a vow heavier than stone. He asked, "Why risk everything for me? Your own clan came to kill you. All for me." She was silent at first. Her hand, as large as his chest, rested on the stone near him. Then she spoke, her voice quiet, almost gentle. "In my world, humans are weak, worth nothing. But when I saw you..." She paused, searching for words. "I could not let you die. My vow bound me. But my heart, it did not fight the vow." Daniel blinked. He felt heat rise in his face, though the night was cold. Her words carried weight, not just duty. Something deeper. He tried to laugh softly, to break the tension. "So, am I your prisoner, or your partner?" Her lips curved slightly, almost a smile. "You are mine. But not chains. Something else. Before Daniel could answer, her eye flicked up. She grabbed his arm, pulling him close. His face pressed against her chest armor as she shielded him with her massive frame. Quiet, she whispered. Daniel's breath caught. Her heartbeat was strong in his ear, like a drum. He felt the warmth of her body, the iron strength of her arms around him. For a strange moment, he forgot the blood, the fear, the ruins. All he felt was her closeness. Then he heard its soft footsteps. Not many, just one. The whisper returned. Daniel. The voice curled through the ruins like smoke. It wasn't her voice. It wasn't human. The Cyclops warrior's muscles tensed. Her single eye glowed brighter as she scanned the shadows. Do you hear it? Daniel whispered. Her grip tightened. Yes, it is not of my clan. The shadowy figure appeared again at the edge of the ruins. Closer this time. Daniel could not see its face, only glowing shapes like threads of light wrapping its body. It stood tall, calm, untouched by the battle. The voice came again, but now sharper. She cannot keep you, Daniel. You belong with us. Daniel's blood froze. U.S., who was us? The Cyclops warrior rose to her full height, pushing Daniel behind her. She roared, her blade raised. He is under my oath. He will not be taken. The figure did not move. Its glowing threads pulsed, and the ruins shook. Daniel's heart raced. He looked at her massive frame standing like a wall before him, and at the strange being that called his name. Two forces pulling him in different directions. For the first time, he felt the truth. He wasn't just protected. He wasn't just hunted. He was wanted. The bond between him and the Cyclops was no longer only an oath. It was something forbidden, something dangerous. And now, something else wanted to claim him. Daniel woke with chains around his wrists. Cold metal bit into his skin, pulling him tight against a stone pillar. His head ached, his vision blurred. The last thing he remembered was the glowing figure in the ruins, calling his name. Then darkness. Now, light flickered around him. Torches burned in a vast chamber carved from rock. Walls painted with strange markings that glowed faintly. He was not alone. Shadows moved all around, dozens of eyes watching him. At the center of the chamber, the Cyclops warrior knelt. Her hands bound, her massive blade taken from her. Blood stained her armor, yet her single glowing eye burned with fire, never leaving Daniel. A voice boomed through the chamber, deep and sharp. She broke our law. She swore an oath to a human. This cannot stand. From the crowd stepped the scarred Cyclops commander, the one Daniel had seen before. His eye glowed with rage as he pointed at Daniel. This weak creature has poisoned her honor, and now he will face our judgment. Daniel's throat went dry. He pulled against the chains, but they held fast. His voice cracked. I didn't do anything. She chose silence. The commander roared. The crowd hissed and growled, their giant frames looming in the torchlight. Daniel felt smaller than ever, a speck before a storm. The Cyclops warrior spoke, her voice steady though her body trembled from wounds. I swore it. I will not break it. The commander sneered. Then prove it. Kill him with your own hand. Show us your loyalty to your blood, not to this insect. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to her. Daniel's heart stopped. His blood ran cold as the words sank in. Kill him? The soldiers unchained her wrists and placed her weapon back in her hands. The massive blade glowed under the torchlight. She stood, towering over Daniel. Her one eye locked on him, unreadable. Step by step, she walked closer. The crowd roared, chanting for blood. Daniel pressed back against the pillar, chains rattling. His voice shook. No, you don't have to do this. She stopped right in front of him. The tip of her blade pressed against his chest, sharp enough to pierce with the smallest push. Her glowing eye never blinked. Daniel's breath came in gasps. You said I was yours. You said. You swore to protect me. Her voice came low, almost a whisper, but heavy with pain. My oath is unbreakable, but they will not let us live. To keep my vow, I may have to betray it. The crowd cheered louder, stamping their feet, shaking the stone walls. Daniel felt his heart hammering, his body shaking against the chains. He searched her eye, trying to see even a spark of mercy. Her massive hand tightened on the blade. The steel trembled, and then she leaned close. So close he felt her warm breath against his ear, just like the first night in the ruins. Her whisper came soft, hidden from the others. "Trust me." When the blade falls, Daniel's eyes widened. His breath caught. What did she mean? The commander raised his fist, roaring to the crowd. "Strike him down." The chamber shook with the sound of voices, the chant of giants demanding blood. The Cyclops warrior raised her blade high, both hands gripping the hilt. Her glowing eye burned brighter than ever. Daniel closed his eyes, bracing for death. And then the blade came down. The blade crashed down, but not on Daniel. At the last second, the Cyclops warrior twisted her wrists. Steel screamed as her weapon cut through the chains binding him instead of his chest. Sparks exploded, metal links shattered, and Daniel fell forward, gasping in shock, for a heartbeat. The chamber was silent. Then chaos exploded. The commander roared in fury. "Traitor!" The Cyclops warrior spun, her blade flashing in a wide arc. 3 soldiers fell at once, blood spraying across the stone floor. The crowd screamed, half in rage, half in fear, as the massive warrior turned against her own kind. Daniel stumbled to his feet, barely catching his balance. His wrists burned where the chains had been, his heart hammering. Around him, giants clashed, steel clashing like thunder, the chamber filled with fire. Torches toppled, flames spreading up the walls. The air grew hot, smoke choking Daniel's lungs. Shadows of towering bodies wrestled in the firelight, every strike shaking the ground. The Cyclops warrior fought like a storm. Her blade shattered shields, split armor, and crushed stone. Blood ran down her arm, but she did not falter. Her one glowing eye burned brighter than the fire around her. Daniel could only watch. Frozen between fear and awe, she was killing her own clan. For him, But the commander was stronger than the rest. He charged through the flames, his massive blade raised high. Sparks exploded as their weapons met. The shockwave threw Daniel to the ground. They fought like gods, each strike louder than thunder. Steel split stone, fire rained down from above, the chamber crumbling under their fury. Daniel crawled back, his body trembling. He wanted to run, but his legs refused. All he could do was watch as the warrior who swore to protect him faced the one enemy she could not outmatch forever. The commander roared, slamming his blade into her side. Blood burst from the wound. She stumbled, her knee hitting the ground. Daniel's heart stopped. No. The commander raised his blade again, his eye blazing with victory. But before the strike could fall, the Cyclops warrior pushed forward, using the last of her strength. Her blade tore upward, cutting across the commander's chest. He roared in agony, stumbling back as blood poured down his armor. The chamber shook. Flames climbed higher, smoke filling every corner. She turned her head toward Daniel, her glowing eye dimming, her breath ragged. "You live, because I bleed." Then she collapsed. Daniel screamed, rushing forward. He caught her as she fell, her massive body heavy against him. Blood stained his hands, warm and thick. Her chest rose and fell weakly, each breath shorter than the last. All around them, soldiers hesitated. Some fled into the fire. Others watched, unsure if their leader lived or died. The commander, half dead but still standing, pointed his blade at Daniel. His voice was broken, but filled with rage. "She dies here. And you, human, you die with her." Daniel's hands shook as he looked at her broken form. Her oath had saved him again and again, but now she was falling. Something inside him snapped. He stood. For the first time, he faced the towering aliens without hiding behind her shadow. His voice was raw, shaking, but strong. "No. She saved me. She swore to protect me." Now, he looked at the blade lying beside her, flames reflecting on the steel. "Now it's my turn." Daniel reached for the weapon, his fingers wrapping around the hilt still warm with her blood. The chamber roared with fire. The trial was not over. It was only beginning. The alien blade felt too heavy in Daniel's hands. It was longer than his body, forged for giants, not humans. His arms shook as he lifted it, the firelight flickering on its blood-stained edge. Across the burning chamber, the scarred commander staggered to his feet. His armor split, blood dripping from his chest, yet his glowing eye still blazed with fury. "You dare touch our steel, human?" he roared, his voice echoing like thunder. "You are nothing. You will die here." Daniel's legs trembled, but he didn't move back. Behind him, the Cyclops warrior lay broken, her breaths shallow. Her glowing eye stared weakly at him, and he remembered her whisper, "My vow makes you mine." Now, he felt a different truth burning inside him. "She swore to protect me," Daniel shouted, his voice cracking. "But I will protect her now." The commander charged, his massive blade raised high. The ground shook under each step. Daniel tightened his grip, heart pounding. He knew he couldn't match strength with a monster 10 feet tall. But he had something else: desperation, and the will to survive. At the last second, Daniel ducked. The commander's blade slammed into the stone pillar, shattering it into dust. Using both hands, Daniel swung low, the alien steel cutting across the commander's wounded chest. Sparks and blood sprayed into the fire. The commander roared, swinging again. But Daniel rolled aside. He wasn't strong, but he was fast. Each miss made the giant slower, weaker, bleeding more. The Cyclops warrior, half-conscious, whispered weakly, "Strike where his eye burns." Daniel's heart raced. The glowing eye. His weakness. The commander lifted his blade once more, rage shaking the chamber. Daniel screamed, raising the weapon with all his strength, and drove it upward. The blade pierced through the commander's glowing eye. A blinding flash lit the chamber. The alien roared in pain, fire exploding around them. The commander stumbled, dropped his weapon, and collapsed with a final crash that shook the chamber to its core. Silence followed. Only the crackle of flames and Daniel's ragged breaths remained. He dropped the blade, his arms numb. His knees buckled, and he crawled back to the Cyclops warrior. Her body was heavy in his arms, her blood staining his hands. Her single eye blinked slowly, glowing weak but warm. "You fought for me." Daniel's throat tightened. "You saved me so many times." It was my turn. Her lips curved in the faintest smile. She lifted her massive hand, placing it gently against his chest, covering his heart. "My vow is fulfilled. You are no longer mine to protect. You are mine to trust." Tears burned Daniel's eyes, though smoke choked the chamber. "Don't leave me. Please, stay." Her breathing slowed. For a moment, he thought she was gone. But then, with a sudden strength, she pushed herself up, her one eye burning brighter than the fire around them. The remaining soldiers, who had watched in silence, stepped back in fear. Their commander was dead, their laws broken, their chamber burning. None dared move closer. The Cyclops warrior stood, towering over them all. Her bloodied blade in one hand, Daniel held close in the other. Her voice thundered through the flames. "Hear me. This human is under my oath. Any who raise a hand against him will face me." The soldiers lowered their weapons. Some fled into the fire, others dropped to their knees. The chamber shook one final time as the ceiling began to collapse. She turned to Daniel, her eyes softer now. "We leave, together." He nodded, gripping her arm as she carried him through the smoke. They stepped out of the burning chamber into the cold night. The ruins glowed behind them, collapsing into ash. Above, the moon shone pale and silent. Daniel looked up at her, her massive frame scarred and bleeding, but unbroken. For the first time, he didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt chosen. She looked down at him, her whisper softer than the night wind. "No chains, no fear. Only us." And for the first time, Daniel believed it. Asterisk.